people launching coins like there's something called Brett now on the base chain. These coins, they launch a coin and they get half the supply for nothing. They just give themselves half the supply or more, and then they are spending all this money on advertising, on promotion, and getting, services like Altcoin Daily to promote these things. And they were promoting them right at Michael Saylor's party, which is amazing. But it tells you the tentacles of corruption, they're deep.
In this recent interview on the Kreuger YouTube channel with Fred Kreuger, we explore Bitcoin's potential to combat corruption, the problems with altcoins, and the importance of a universal monetary standard. At the time of this discussion, Bitcoin is trading around $95,000 with a 3% decrease in the last 24 hours and a 3% decrease in the last 30 days. Before we explore this discussion, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this channel. Now let's hear more from Fred Kreuger.
Let's talk about this episode, which is about Bitcoin and corruption. And I think I really tried to pick the word corruption because I think that's really the essence of what we're talking about, right? And I think we really saw a lot of that a couple of years ago, right? We saw, in particular, Sam Bankman-Fried basically, paying the Democratic Party tens of millions of dollars in donations to get a meeting with Gary Gensler and to kind of get the monopoly on crypto assets, right? And this was just, it's really disheartening for us that basically the world is still very much of a pay-to-play place. We saw it also with Elizabeth Warren, who started her career by making this attack on banks, and then she switched to becoming a bank lover, and the banking industry just donated millions of dollars to her campaign so that they would crack down on crypto, and she became basically the leader in the anti-crypto army, as she called it, that fortunately is being dismantled as we speak. But also, there's just all these fiat leaders that have been using the power of the printing press to just buy more votes. They don't really care if the money devalues. They don't care. It benefits them and their political futures if we can have, if they can print more money, and they love doing that. So that's kind of what we're up against with Bitcoin, and Bitcoin is sort of the exact opposite. It's incorruptible money. It is something that's completely fairly launched, and so at the end of the day, it's really an ethical question. So what kind of world do you really want to live in? Do you want to live in a world where, like in the novel Faust by Goethe, by the way, a fantastic book. The ultimate sort of German writer. And in Goethe's Faust, the emperor is tempted by the devil because he's got all these economic problems, and the devil is saying, disguised as a fool, by the way, he's telling the emperor, you should use paper money, and then the emperor is tempted and agrees. So do we want that world? Do we want a world where we're just kind of getting quick fixes like a heroin junkie by printing more money to produce temporary economic booms? Or do we want a world where we have clean, fair money that anybody can send to anybody else and that can never be debased?
As we just heard Fred Kreuger explain Bitcoin's role as incorruptible money, let's explore how altcoins contribute to corruption, why fiat money exacerbates global inequality, and the critical need for a universal financial standard. Now let's listen to what Fred Kreuger has to say.
I think most of us Bitcoiners have come to the realization that if we could possibly have such fair, clean money, it would be better. And that these kind of quick economic fixes that, Mephistopheles was pushing to the emperor. They're really like a drug pusher pushing some, crack cocaine to an addict. We don't need that. We don't want that. We want a system that's fair and that's not rigged, so that everybody loses. Now, a lot of people will say the only reason you say that, Fred, is because you got your bags of Bitcoin and you're going to benefit. Of course, nobody is doing this necessarily out of completely altruistic reasons. We're also in it for the money. But at the end of the day, we're all going to die. And some of us are going to go spend whatever money we get on stupid stuff like Lambos. That's just the case. I'm not going to be around 30 years from now. I might, there may be a chance I'm around 30, but I'm certainly not going to be around 40 years from now, right? That would be a miracle if I put it last long. So somewhere in the next 30 years, I'm gone. And the question is, and Michael Saylor's gone, so and both Michael Saylor and I have enough money for this particular lifetime right now. We don't need Bitcoin to go up to do this, right? It's not about the money. So the money is going to, and so our whatever we have is going to get dissipated in the sands of time. It doesn't matter. But this next generation, they can have a world with a fair monetary basis. And that's a better world. And it's a world where it is not as easily corruptible. Now, this is sort of the gist of my tweet. I just want to add a few little things to it. The first is about altcoins, and I think they're very, very corrupt, right? And I was sitting next to Tomer Strolight in the bus at this event, and Tomer we were talking about ETH, and he said, Fred, it's really like in just 3 years, they managed to recreate all the evils of the fiat system in cryptocurrency. Like it's kind of created this pyramid-like thing where they could kind of print more Ethereum, where they could change the rules, where they could fork it because somebody hacked their system. Every single thing they did was ethically incorrect. And so they managed to recreate fiat. Now, and so, we don't need that kind of corruption in our Bitcoin world. So I think we don't need fiat. We don't need money printing. We don't need the Federal Reserve. And we also don't need the latest meme coins or altcoins. None of those things are needed or wanted. We just want Bitcoin. We want a way. There's potentially a few things we want with Bitcoin. We might want to borrow against Bitcoin. We might want to have more efficient ways to send payments in Bitcoin. But at the end of the day, what we want a currency, which is Bitcoin. That's what we want. We don't want to go back to a world where there's, hundreds or thousands of currencies like there were in, medieval Germany, right? There was like hundreds of currencies to transact between even different parts of Germany. They had all these different currencies. And you had sort of shops with abacuses that people used to figure out the exchange rate for bringing something in from, say, Antwerp in Belgium, to bring it in to somewhere like Hamburg. You had to go through 10 currencies and you had to figure out some kind of exchange rate. We don't want that kind of situation either. We want a universal standard of value. And I think we found that. And I think that standard of value is going to be Bitcoin. Now, whether you like it or not, that's where it is. And so I think the game theory of Bitcoin is going to make the world a little less corrupt, or a lot less corrupt. And I think that's really the key word here is corruption. We need to make the world a less corrupt place.
To watch the full interview, check out the link in the description. We would love to hear your thoughts on some questions. Do you think Bitcoin can eliminate corruption in finance? What are your views on altcoins compared to Bitcoin? Thank you for tuning into Only the Savvy. If you enjoyed this discussion, please subscribe, like, and share our video for more engaging content exploring the innovative world of decentralized technologies. SIM-swap fraud is sweeping the globe, and your mobile security is at risk. Switch to Ifani and lock out SIM-swap fraud and get the most elite mobile protection in the world. Ifani guarantees 100% protection from SIM swaps, backed by a $5 million insurance policy. Stay secure with reliable coverage, free international roaming, and unlimited data. Trust Ifani to keep your communications and assets secure. Get military-grade protection, 24/7 concierge service, and a hassle-free upgrade. Click the link below for $150 off. Thanks for watching. Help support this channel and receive exclusive offers from one of our partners located in the description. We'll see you on the next one.